Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. Today, our topic is going to be Brotherhood versus Sisterhood. You know, the brothers get together and they do their thing, and the sisters get together and they do their thing. It's two different bonds altogether, if you ask me. Uh, Sisterhood mean one thing to the sisters, brotherhood means something totally for the brothers when you're talking about brotherhood and them getting together. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about my book, Power Thoughts, Empowering You to Be Successful in Life. Let me put that up there real good so you can see it. Empowering you to be successful. This book it has really enhanced so many people's lives. And I just want to say, as a sister, I am so proud of this book because I started writing this book. I did this book to support the children. Women are nurturers and they want to make everything right, okay, with our kids and our youth. And they're very concerned about the youth and the way they grow up and everything like that. So I did the Power Thoughts for the children. As a matter of fact, I got a job as a school bus driver specifically to do Power Thoughts because one day my life is going to be in their hands and I want it to be done right. So that's the thought of a mother. Now, of a woman, shall I say, and a mother. But then what about men? Do they think like that? Do they think my life is going to be in the hands of these young people and I want it done right? Do they think these men need to get a job? Or this woman needs to do this or do that? Okay, do they think about the future and what they can contribute? But I did. I wanted them to be honest. I wanted them to be entrepreneurs. I wanted them to be just good people overall, not just business wise. I want them to do when they have a business. I want them to do it honestly. Okay, I don't want them to cheat and beat anybody. So my thoughts went into that because when you have children, you want your children to be well accepted, be a great member of the society. And so that's what I was doing with this Power Thought, teaching them that they can do anything that they want, and they don't have to let anybody control their lives. Just know that you can do it and you have the power to succeed. And that's the first thing in my book. You control your destiny. You have the power to succeed. Let no one discourage you from reaching your mightiest dream. Okay. And I teach that to the kids, of course, adults as well. But that's what I was doing on the school bus to those children. And it really helped them a lot. And as a woman, we are nurturers and we instill good values in children and in our youth and some in adults as well. Okay. We instill that in them. That's the trait of a woman and a woman bonding and sisterhood because, when a lot of women are left in control of taking care of the kids, even though they may have a spouse there, but they're still there to they're mainly in control of the kids. Of course, they might say, "Wait till your father get here. You're gonna get a whipping" or something like that. But overall, women are still in charge, and so women get together a lot of times. And they do things with their kids, and sometimes you have these hard-headed kids. So one mother has to tell another mother what to tell her child, because kids don't always listen to their children, their mothers. They don't think their parents know everything. So they're going to tell the other mother, and the mother will relay whatever. And sometimes the neighbor, your friends, or whatever, the other woman will hear something from a child and relay it back to the mother. Okay, so they can fix the problem or be aware of what's going on, whatever. Okay, so that's a form of sisterhood, I would say. Just doing little things like that. And there are a lot of things that you can do as far as sisterhood. There are a lot of things that happens. For instance, like when a woman get pregnant, okay? Now, women know that pregnancy is not an easy thing to do. They know that women go through a lot of morning sickness, go through a lot of aches and pains, uh, health conditions develop over this. Women have cravings, they have mood swings, all kinds of things go through a woman that happens to a woman when she's carrying a baby. And the women who knows it, the women, they support them. Like, for instance, when I was pregnant, I was craving chitlins. One of the mothers at the church, she got some chitlins, brought them to my house, cleaned them, and cooked them for me. I wanted what? Carrot cake. They got that carrot cake for me. My mom sent stuff all the way from Mississippi for me to eat, because they know they cater to you when you're pregnant, okay? Because they know those needs. They know how important it is to you. They cater to your emotions, because sometimes you go through these emotions up and down. Sometimes your hormones get all crazy, and women cater to that. And men, they don't understand it. They don't understand it. My woman, she's just crying all the time, or she's just bitching and all of that. Men don't understand. They don't understand, but women do. You might be fussing and have this temper and all that kind of stuff, but women understand what kind of mood you are going through. So that sisterhood thing is there. They bond, they understand, and they cater to you. There's another thing as far as sisterhood is concerning bridals. When a woman get ready to have get married, they have a bridal shower. And how many men are at that bridal shower? And do they have a shower for men too? Nope. I don't know of any men. They might have a party, for the man to get out and sow his wild oats for the last time, that they say, you know. That's what the men would do. Sow your wild oats, have this party with the scrippers and get drunk and all this other stuff. They might even have a girl there for the groom, so he can have his way with her for the last time before he get married, and all that kind of stuff. That's what men do, as far as brotherhood. If they do something different, I don't know it. You got to tell me. But that's what I see. That's what I see. But the women, they get together, they have these bridal showers, they have give them things for their house, and help them plan their wedding and everything. A lot of women want to be in the wedding. I want to be in your wedding. Congratulations. They're so happy for the woman. And then the men say, man, you're throwing your life away. I am so sorry for you. Even though some of these men are married already, but they think it's a hardship and it's a terrible thing for another man to get married. But that's the way they are. Men, they're just totally different. A woman, when they bond, they do all kinds of things. I'll give you another example. Domestic abuse. Okay. Now, if a woman is having problems with domestic abuse, they're going to be there to back that woman. Okay, they will be there. Cause me personally, I know I've rescued a couple of women. I've been there for them to help them get through those situations. I had to go pick up one from a house one time. And it's there. I mean, I don't know of any guys who have to be rescued, or another guy who goes try to support somebody. They might say, "Hey, this is my sister. You're not gonna do that." But the women, there's a bond. Because I know when I was in college, it was a trade school. There was this lady who was in a domestic abuse situation, and majority of the people at this school were women. So when this girl come to school, we would lock the doors so that guy would not come in there, to get her. We were very protective of her. Walked her to her car, drove her home, or whatever. We tried to build that shield around her to protect her. That's what women do. Now, I don't know of any men who do it in protecting. They might want to protect a woman, protect my sister, protect my cousin, or something like that. They may do that, but a lot of time men might say, "Man, you shouldn't be treating her like that," and that's basically it. But they don't. Do they really do a lot to stop a man from abusing his wife? If you know your friend is abusing your wife, their wives, would they really stop them? Would they tell them don't do that? Would they help that wife to get out of that situation? But I know women do. They would help them plan the exit. They would get money together and give it to this woman so she can leave. That they will plan, they will wait for the man to leave, have a truck down the road. When he go to work, they loading this stuff up as much as they can in the truck, shipping her out of there to get her away from this domestic abuse situation. Women would do that, but will men do it? Will men do the same thing to help women? Women, they bond like that. Okay, I know that they would do that. So this women's situation, sisterhood is important. And just when they are crying about something, it could be something as simple as death. Okay, women will call you, "I love you. Are you okay?" And they will continue to check on you after the person is buried. If someone you love was died, they will check on you after they're buried, make sure you're okay, and they will continue doing that for a little while. But later on it's going to die off. But at the beginning and somewhere down the middle, the call's going to get less frequent. I tell you that. But in the beginning, that you got that support. Right there when you need it the most, they're going to be there. They're going to come over and cook for you, see if anything you need them to do, help you with funeral arrangements, take care of the kids for you while you do your thing. They would do that for you. Whether men would do that or not, that's a different story. But of course, we're going to have our co-hosts to come in later on and tell me what men do to support men. Of course, what do they do to support women? Yeah, that's the thing. I know men are providers and protectors. That's what men do, provide and protect. They are conquerors and seekers. When it comes to women, seek and conquer. Seek and conquer, because like men like having a whole bunch of women. Okay, even if they're married, they're gonna have their wife there, and they're gonna have their girlfriend on the end, on the side. And men, they don't think anything about it. But let a woman do that. Let a woman do that. What are the men gonna say? "Oh, she's a hoe. That's no good woman. You need to get rid of her." But the man is doing the same thing. And it's okay for the men to do it, but it's not okay for the women. The way I look at it, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's the way I look at it. If men gonna go out and cheat, women can go cheat too. Even though I don't think you should be cheating, that's the wrong thing to do. If you don't want somebody, just go on about your business. That's the way I look at it. Just go on. Don't be hurting, because women are emotional. On top of that, now, if a man cheat on a woman gonna cry and all that kind of stuff, right? They're gonna be upset and hurt. But if a woman cheat on a man, he's angry and he wanna beat her up, get rid of her and all that other stuff. But that woman, she gonna forgive that man. Okay, she gonna forgive him, and a lot of times they're gonna forgive. They just want him to stop doing it, treat her right, and do the right thing. But a man, when he find out that she cheated, she's nasty, she's no good. I don't want her, because somebody else been there. Why? Why do men do that? Why do they feel like they have to be the only one to go out there and do whatever they want to do versus a woman? What women don't normally do that. Normally, if a woman cheat, it's because she's not getting what she need at home. Normally, if man not taking care of home, not paying the bills like he's supposed to, even though we got a lot of independent women, but if a man is not doing what he's supposed to do at home, then yeah, women gonna go seek. Okay? They're gonna go seek. If the man's always been abusive, talking down to her, and just making her feel bad about herself, yeah, she wants to feel better. She wants somebody to say you're pretty. I love you. I like the dress you wear. You got pretty eyes. Women want to hear that. But if a man always downing her and she go out, you ran her away. You ran her away. You caused her to go out and cheat. If you don't pay the bills, you don't buy groceries, and she had to go out there and see somebody else to get some groceries in the house, and a lot of times you're benefiting from it. But nope, don't want that. Men do not want that. They can't see their mistakes. They don't see their mistakes at all. But what can I say? That's the men. And I'm talking about relationships. Supposed to be talking about sisterhood and brotherhood. But as far as brotherhood, I know a lot of guys, they get together, they bond with sports and women. That if it's something different, let me know. But I see them bonding with sports. They will put a football game in front of their wives. Okay? This is a game the day we're supposed to be bonding with the boys. The boys are supposed to get together. So, woman, what does she do? Go do whatever. Go shopping or whatever. But the man, he going to have his sports time with the boys. They're going to go out together. They're going to bond. Okay? That's it. And then when they get together, they're talking about the women. Okay? My wife is doing this, or my girlfriend is doing that, or whatever. Okay? That's what makes them bond. But women, they bond with children and emotions and achievements, a lot of other stuff, and a lot of things. Like if another thing with sisterhood, if a woman has several children and one of them is sick and had to go to the hospital, normally one of her girlfriends gonna keep the other children for her. A lot of times. Okay, there are some men who are there for them, but if it's a single woman, her girlfriends are gonna help her out. Okay, but what about the males? If they have friends, would they come and help out with the kids? Would you trust your male friends with your children? I wouldn't. Well, that's me personally from experience. Okay, well, not me personal experience, but I remember when I was at the hospital with my baby, my daughter. She was there. Well, it wasn't a hospital. It was at the doctor's office. And this guy came in with his daughter. His daughter was like 5 years old. And the daughter had been sexually molested by his friend. He was upstairs bathing his little baby. And then and his friend was down there playing with the daughter. And all of a sudden, he heard her scream. The man was molesting his 5-year-old child. With me, it's like crush, kill, destroy. That's all it is. When it comes to my children, crush, kill, and destroy. When it comes to other kids, that women burn, crush, kill, destroy. You don't do a child like that. you know. But I don't know what he did to his friend, but I don't think he would have made it till the police got there. Me personally, that's the way I am, because I've always been protected with my kids. I've always been in that crush, kill, destroy mode when it comes to the safety of my children. I have always been like that, because that's just me. And women are like that because they're nurturers and they're protectors of their children. And men are not always like that because you got a lot of incest going on with men. That's the way they are. And I'm not male bashing, but that's reality. That is reality. So we have a lot of things that goes on between the males and the females. Males and females are totally different. I know there may be some incest with females. I don't know of any. Let me put it like that. But there's bound to be some somewhere, because somebody's going to say something about some incest somewhere with female. But with the males, you hear it all the time. Hear it all the time. And I was totally surprised when I heard about Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover. His ancestors were big time brothers and sisters, fathers having children by his child. J. Edgar Hoover family, white people, black, a lot of with the black maids, not maids, they were slaves at the time. Okay, they were having sex with the slaves, and then the slave would have a child, and the man would have sex with his child. A lot of incest was going on in his family, and I'm going, that is so nasty. To me, that is so nasty. For him to not like black people, and he has black heritage in his blood, but he didn't like black people. That's strange, and it's a lot of people who don't like black people, but they have it in the blood somewhere along the line, And I don't know. That goes back to the Roe versus Wade thing. Okay, they don't want a whole lot of. They don't want the women to have abortion because they want more white babies. But then you look at it, it was the white men that was having the babies by the black women and caused a whole lot more brown babies. They're the one who started this process, and now they're concerned that the black people are going to take over. I don't get it. If you didn't want that to happen, you shouldn't have started the process. And they complain about, a long time ago, I heard them talking about black people having babies so they can get more welfare checks. So now you're forcing them to have babies. I guess they're going to have more welfare checks. And I hope the government have enough money to support these women and these babies that they're forcing them to have. Because, a lot of these women don't want these babies. They don't. And Roe versus Wade, to overcome that, and a lot of incest, that's going on, and a lot of, even, I guess you could call stepfathers and stepbrothers who are having babies by their siblings. That shouldn't happen. And it's going to be some things just shouldn't happen. Some things just shouldn't happen. I know I'm just all over the place right now, but some things just shouldn't happen. And I don't know. They just shouldn't happen. Okay, with Roe versus Wade, and the thing with that is, a lot of women they go through some hard times trying to have babies. When they're pregnant, they go through a lot. They really do. And for a man to say that a woman should have a baby, they're forcing them to have these babies, I think is wrong. It really do, because I know, of a woman who got really sick and had to stay in the hospital extra long time after she had her baby 2 times. And the doctor finally told her, said, you can't have anymore. And she had her tubes tied. So, to stop her from having babies. And there are women who have heart attacks because they were pregnant, who swelled real big. There are people who hormones get way out of whack when they're pregnant. And I've heard women say, I would never go through this again. I would never, because of the way it made them feel. And now for, what is it? 6 men, all white men, 1 black one, all men who not going to have any babies, who not going to have any kids, who probably forced somebody to have an abortion because they didn't want to ruin their reputation. Now they're trying to force people to have these babies because they don't want the white race to be diminished. That's basically all it is. And then, too, the other thing is they're afraid if you get too many black people, they're going to do to them what they did to the black people. Black people don't want to do that. They're not even interested in doing anything like that. They just want to live and be happy and succeed. That's all they want. They want to live in peace and not be afraid. That's what they want, not to be afraid to live. They want to live their lives happy, and be successful. They want the opportunities that they know that they can accomplish things, but they don't want that. And white men feel like they're being overtaken. They're losing control because we're getting a majority going to be black and brown people. But then they don't want immigrants here. That's the other thing. They don't want immigrants. But how do you think the Indians feel? They welcome these people. And white people are immigrants. To the Indians, they are immigrants. And the Indians ain't trying to get them away. So why are you trying to push everybody else away? And a lot of this country, people don't realize that Texas was taken from Mexico. They didn't get it fairly. So Texas was Mexico land, New Mexico, and a lot of the areas down there, that was New Mexico. That was Mexico's land. That was Mexico. And now they're saying that even though Mexicans were there, they're not welcome. What about that? Why wouldn't they be welcome? And sometimes they're treating them like they're, I don't know, second-class people. But if it wasn't for the Mexicans, a lot of us wouldn't have the food that we eat because they do a lot of the farming. A lot of our food come from their labor. But people don't realize that. The only thing they're thinking about, all those Mexicans coming over here and they having all those babies. That's what they're talking about, having all those babies. But I don't know. That's the way they are. And that's about all I have really to say. You're looking at Good News at Primetime.
Yeah, Sylvia. Reggie got delayed. So he had he has his own business and stuff like that. So he had a client, so he got delayed and stuff like that. But I've been enjoying the conversation, and you had me cracking up because I remember in the 1980s, I did a ride or die with my best friend. She had planned the day that she was going to leave her abusive husband, had it all time. He goes to work at 8 o'clock, turn the lights off at 10 o'clock. Well, we had the lights turned off like at 4 so that we could pack everything up. I'm down the street with the truck. And the one thing that we were laughing about is like, we just wanted to be a fly in the wall when he walked in that apartment that evening, hit the light switch and don't come on, walk through the house and don't bump into any furniture because everything's gone. And yeah. Sisters, but I did want to ask you, what kind of sisterhoods, sororities or clubs, or what kind of sisterhoods have you have in your life?
Well, I've never really joined in the sororities. Well, I did one, Nina Musha. I was only there for one semester though. Um, but my basically was just friends. I have good friends. Like right now, I have a friend who moved here in Atlanta, and she and I was friends in college back in Mississippi, and she done moved up here now, and we've always been pretty tight. So,
That's
when
wonderful.
she introduced me to the root beer shake. Yeah, and I've been loving it ever since. Yeah. So I've always been there for other people's. I haven't really had a need, for my comfort. I guess because I'm a strong person and independent and all that kind of stuff. But
Hmm.
I've been there for other people. Babies. Well, yes, I did. When my daughter was sick, when she was having seizures, um, I had a friend who came. She was watching my baby at the hospital so I can go home and change clothes,
Mm.
and check on my other child and then get back. So I did have that friend. And the thing is about sisterhood, a lot of times women come into your life for a reason and then they leave. And
Hmm.
this particular friend, I can't even remember her name, but I remember how nice she was and how we just bond and we just talk. But I don't even remember her name. It's been that long ago,
Wow.
about 30 some years ago. And I've had some good friends, and like when I had my own business, I needed somebody to help me out. I had friends to help me out, you know. And when I plan parties, what can I do? Let me help you do this, do that. I There been some sisterhood there.
Yeah, I think you raise an important point because a lot of our sisterhoods are informal. It's not like organized, like nonprofits or sororities and stuff like that. We bond to the other women in our lives. And I think it's because we know their struggle. Like when I was growing up as a child, I grew up in the housing projects in Durham, North Carolina. And to this day, I remember the strong women in that neighborhood. I mean, majority of them were married and stuff, but their husbands, they traveled and stuff. But I remember my grandmother and the friends that she had and how they all pitched in, like nobody ever went hungry,
Hmm.
like you said, in terms of if they needed anything, help with the light bill or whatever, they would chip in, watching the kids for each other while they went and got, work and those kind of things. Um, my mother, she's in her 80s now, but my mother um, got an opportunity to go to nursing school. She was an LPN working at Duke Hospital in Durham, and Duke Hospital it was really innovative and forward thinking. I wish they had more programs like this. But back in the 1970s, Duke Hospital realized that, what they needed RNs. So what the hospital did was, well, we have all these LPNs that's been working for us for years. So they selected, my mother was one part of the first program where they selected these black nurses that were LPNs that had worked for them for years, and they said, "We're going to send you to a 4-year college." It was a historically black college, North Carolina Central. We will pay for your full tuition. You just have to work 20 hours a week. We pay for all your education and stuff. And you just promise to work for us once you get your LPN, work for us for 2 more years after that. Then you're on your own. It was wonderful. Totally changed the trajectory of our life. But my mother, they went in, it was about 6 or 7 of those women, and they promised each other, some of them didn't know each other, but
Hmm.
they promised that if one graduates, we all are going to graduate. My mother had 6 children. Those women, every one of them graduated, all of them graduated with honors, and they just supported each other. They knew my mother had kids and stuff like that, so they would come over to our house for study night because she, needed to be home with her kids. It was just a beautiful, I've seen good role models in my life of the women in my life, how they bond together and take care of each other, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, I've seen that too. And when you're talking about the study, when I was in trade school, the women would get together somewhere between class, and we just studied together,
mhm.
asked each other questions, and we were learning from each other, and that helped us all pass with flying colors.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we were supportive. And
yeah,
my mom, she was good too as far as showing helping other people. Cause I remember one Christmas, this lady had 5 or 6 kids, and she bought every one of them an outfit to wear to church.
wow.
You know, and to me, that's showing charity and love. A woman supporting a woman.
Yeah,
But
because
all her kids, something to wear to church.
we kind of have this stereotype of black women that we are catty and that we always fighting each other and that we don't support each other, and that's not been my experience. You know
Yeah,
what I
mine
mean?
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine either. Of course, you're gonna have some women who are like that, who are gonna be jealous of you for some reason or another. Because look, I had somebody who was jealous because my hair was coming from under my hat and hers weren't. Yeah, because like this was when I was in college. I was a bad girl, right? And she was one too. And my sister and our hair was a little lengthy, and so when we put on our hat, our baseball hat, we had hair coming down. Her hair was like that, so she didn't have any hair coming from under her hat, and she was jealous of that. So you're gonna have people who jealous of petty things. You're gonna have that, but then overall, you got the sisterhood. Even if you don't like somebody, and if they're in a bind, you're gonna help them out. Especially when it comes to domestic abuse or something's going on with their children, women gonna stick together whether they like you or not. That's the way I see it. I haven't seen any woman say that's good for her. She shouldn't be in that situation. They stick up for them. That's the way I say. Even with Kamala Harris, I didn't join a sorority, but guess what? I had on my pink and pearls when she when she got elected and during the inauguration. I was there. I mean, when I vote, a lot of times I vote for the women. Simply to give the women my support. I vote for women first. I if they're I don't necessarily do the party thing, but it's Democrat and women. Yeah, and if there's no party thing, it's women, women, women. Especially if I hear good things about them and I can support a woman, I support a woman. That's
Well,
the way I do it. If Tracy, not Tracy, but Stacey Abrams, I supported her then, and I'm supporting her now.
yeah. Oh, Reggie has joined us, and glad to see you, Reggie. We'd like to hear your perspective, especially about brotherhoods and stuff.
Oh,
But I will say though that I agree with you, Sylvia, in terms of voting for women. But where I get disappointed, it's just like my vote for black candidates or female candidates. Too often I've seen where women take these positions and feel like they have to assume the characteristics of their white male counterpart. They got to show that they harder, that they is, they don't. And I'm expecting you to come in there with all your femininity. Yes, you are smart. You can be hard when you want to, but I want some compassion, empathy. I want all of that package in you. I do not want to see, otherwise, I want to see a contrast between a white male candidate and your governance as a black female. I want to see that in you. And sometimes I get disappointed because it's like the female candidates, white and black, feel like they have to, when they step, even in jobs, when they get into positions of leadership, that they have to prove to the male counterparts that they can be as badass as everybody else. and or they will be thought to be, oh, she too soft, and this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
But you
yeah.
know what? Sometimes the males make her that way. No, because she tried to be nice and goody two shoe and stuff like that, but the males want to dominate her. You know, because I had that problem as a supervisor. The males didn't want to do what I asked them to do simply because I was a female. You know, and we got a problem with that. Uh, the female don't have a problem with it, but it's the males who don't want to take orders from a female. You know, so
well, they do it at home. They take orders. Most and it's good to hear the women's perspective on sisterhood as I drop in for the brothers, you know, males. I see a lot of dedication amongst women when it comes down to in your younger ages, you might have those little petty things that you go against. But I've seen women support each other through different pregnancies, divorces, financial situations. So I see a big bond with women of all colors when it comes down to bonding that sisterhood. Now, men have a bond. I ran a little late helping a brother that had locked his keys in his car. So men do have a bond. Certain things we do help each other, things of that nature. And men have bonds. A lot of men come out of the military. That's an operation that trains you to bond together. So a lot of men, even when women started to come into the military, they were kind of like, it's us against them, whether it be white men, black men, Hispanic men. It was just like, this is our club, this is us. The same thing with police officers, firemen, even in the medical profession. The many women, when they entered, they had to go through an all-male boys club, and men do have a particular bond with each other, even if they there's a certain amount of respect and value and loyalty that men have amongst each other. And sometimes it can be difficult for a woman to come in because she'll say, if she asserts herself too much, she's considered to be a complainer, a troublemaker. They call her the B word, all that type of stuff, you know, but yet she's assuming the position and filling the role at a high level. But I see as men and women's relationships kind of mirror each other, you got to think about it. We've only been in the workplace for about, well, we started in the 40s, World War II. That's when women first entered the workplace. Then women started to enter the military. And finally, it was in the 80s before women were on ships and aircraft carriers and in the battlefield. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of women, once they assimilate with the men, you know, they become not as tough, but they hold their own weight. The women that I worked with in the Navy, they were, now some came in and just thought they was going to wear high heels and, you know, prancing around. And you get those type women too. But most of the women came and worked harder than men. When I was, even if you I worked at the post office, I worked at Lockheed, I worked at a couple manufacturing places, and the women humped harder than the men, you know? And a lot of times women have to face different forms of sexual harassment. Some men get sexual harassment, but it's not as severe as when women, because women coming in, they got their family, they're thinking about their family, and they're not thinking about a man trying to be egotistic and push them from getting overtime, push them away from getting a better job or a better position just because they're a woman and they can't stand to see a woman. But I think they can, you know, you can't stand to see a woman get ahead. So I think the men-women relationship is getting better. I know the Brotherhood of Men is solid. You have men in fraternities, and even when I look at men in some of the, it could be anything. It could be any groups, whether it be the Masons, the Illuminati, politics, religion, men had that area dominated for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But see, now women are reading, studying. See, women were kept out of those places because of the ignorance of men. Men said, this is just an all boys club. You know, the Masons ended up getting the Eastern Stars. The fraternities were all men. Then sororities came in. They started doing that. It reminded me of Charlie Brown. Remember when what's the girl in Charlie Brown? She wanted to be part of the boys thing, and they wouldn't let her be Lucy. And then finally they let Lucy hang with her. You know, even like in the Little Rascals, you know, back in that time period, the girls would hang out and be a part of that you know, that whole clique. So I think over time we're learning to value our individual brotherhood, the men, it's, you know, and womanhood. And I think as we develop respect for each other, we start to understand each other, we can do better. Even men within groups, they have different dysfunctions. You know, you were talking about politics where a woman comes in and you think she's going to be pro women. You know what I'm saying? She comes in from a feminist, female first position, but when she gets there, she votes and goes against all the things that are in the best interest of women. It's just like men, whether it be black men. You see someone like Justice Clarence Thomas, he might vote against anything that's got anything to do with black men moving ahead. So you can question brotherhood and loyalty. It can cross lines. Politics, religion, even in religion, they didn't let women be in the pulpit. You know, it took a minute to let women be in the choir.
Oh, really?
Believe it or not. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've always thought women were in the choir.
No, certain denominations don't have no women singing.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
That one I didn't know.
Yeah, you know, a lot of them didn't allow women in the pulpit. Women bishops, evangelists, reverend. It took a long time for women to assert that position, all because men here had adopted the policy. It's a brotherhood. It's men first. So in order for us to really get the most out of life, I think we will see a blend of men and women. Not to say that men and women shouldn't have things that they don't do together. You know, when I see these men that can't make it as a man and go run track as a woman, now that's a different brotherhood to me. You know, if I was a loser over and I couldn't beat none of the men running, I don't think I'd run against the women. I don't think I'd swim against the women. I don't think you know, I think there has to be certain things that men do differently and women do differently. It's not segregating them. It's just allowing them to express themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. I don't think if men have these transgender operations, I don't think they should go participate in sports according to what they turned into. I don't think so, because that gives them an advantage over the women. Excuse me, and that's not right. I mean, men might swim harder, they might be stronger, you know, and stuff. And they excuse me, hold on.
You know, I'm pretty sure if it was a sport that women dominated in, men would complain if women came over and crossed over. You know, men, again, look what men did when women entered the workplace. We said earlier, the ministry. See, men have always pushed back against women infiltrating what they call their club. Now, women don't get that particular thing. You know, like you said, some of these women that have voted for transgender rulings have opened the door for their daughters and granddaughters not to be able to compete in sports, ballet, anything that involves a little bit of physical activity, because you got men, I mean, full-grown boys competing against girls. So men, again, there's a all boys club that's pushing the all boys agenda that say men can do anything. Men can cross over, but women can't. There's more men crossing over to be women than it is the women to be men. Even though women cross over to be LGBT, but they're not having the operations. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. The majority of the people that have these operations are men. Now, women might have a breast reduction, but that's throughout the thing. Women don't just do breast reduction because they're gay or lesbian. Some of them do it because of different cancers and things of that nature. But most men are having selfish operations just so they can infiltrate the world of a woman. I mean, not all men. I'm just saying, when you look at who's pushing these issues for men to run track, for men on the girls' team, for men to run and swim on the girls' team, for men to all this type of stuff. I might be old school on that one, but I think women have to stand your ground. Can't let them in there. That should be a sisterhood that's uncrossable.
Yeah.
And they got men that are joining fraternities, sororities.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. It's some guy. I think it was HBCU. One of the players at AK. I'm like, man, goodness, that should be outlawed.
Yeah. What? I mean, they have the men fraternities. Why couldn't they join a man fraternity?
Well, like I said, he was too weak to be with the men, and the men said, you can't be in our club being that weak. A lot of men fraternities, unless a brother is on the down low,
yeah,
they might still be kissing and not telling, but they don't just put it out there. You're just not gonna be running around with a big rainbow, being an Omega, Psi Phi, or Alpha, or even a Sigma, or a Kappa.
Yeah. So tell me, what ways do you feel that men join their bond besides sports?
Well, Brotherhood, you take, when we were having a lot of sessions, dads on duty. Men at first is hard to bond, especially as they get older, even younger men. But men like to belong to a group. Men like to belong to a group. That's why you have men in gangs. Men like a bond. Men have a best friend, a buddy, somebody they play basketball with, somebody they run football, throw baseball, catch, and stuff like that. Men typically bond well together. Now as they get a little older, out of their teenage years, they might start, looking at the girl. Even when the men go and chase after the girls, sometimes they do it in packs. A lot of guys, they team up. They go out and find the women together, talk to them, all this stuff. They boost each other's egos. So men love being part of a group. That's one reason we have young men that don't have mentorship that are in gangs, because they want to be a part of something. Men join the military. Men join anything that puts men together. Even in the ministry, there were more men groups in the religious sector before they brought women in. So when you look at it, men have always established a sector just for them, all boys club. So men have been bonding together for a long time, and I see that women are being a part of the equation, and now women have to speak up to say that, okay, we got to have some things that are exclusively ours. Even when it comes down to abortion, like Roe versus Wade, women should be able to say, this is what I want to do. But in the all boys club, they said, no, you can't do that because I want you to do this. And so men have always had that luxury. You can go to any country. When you look in different parts of Africa, Nigeria, Liberia, Kenya, it's male dominated traditions. You know what I'm saying? And the women tend to cater to the men. The women are groomed, not always today, they're breaking a lot of those traditions, but the women were groomed to be a wife or a helpmate for the man. You know, so men have always been in for some reason, in the male club, you know, the all male club. Even around the world, we just started to get more female leaders. You had the queen, but the queen didn't bring no power. The queen could not declare a war. In Britain, when was Queen Elizabeth, she didn't have no power, even though she was there under about 4 or 5 different prime ministers. She wasn't, you know, she was just a figurehead. But today, women are getting power, and I think as we open it up, we're going to need women and men to work together.
Yeah, we are. So let me ask you this question. From my view, the only thing I see men bonding in is sports and women. What else do you see men bonding in?
Well, what else you want them to do?
I don't know.
Those are 2 most important things on the planet. What else? Well, sports, women, and protecting the country. A lot of men would join the military. I've got men, Army buddies, Navy buddies, Marine buddies. Yeah, the basic man, I'm gonna tell you this. Basic manhood is things like that. We hunter gatherer. That's what we do. We men that are men really don't run the household, you know.
Yeah.
They get a wife, even if they got a girlfriend, she runs that household. Typically, men want to do those things that are helpful to the women in their life. You know, most men. Now, it's gotten weak because men work in the household. So now you got a generation of weak men that want to compete with the girl. Okay. See, men was chasing the girls. Men were playing sports, hunting, protecting the village or the community. Now you got a weaker population of men that want to do and be women.
Yeah.
They want to go to the women's bathroom. Only reason a guy wanted to go in the girls' bathroom when he was a teenager. And not to go, you know, just look at the girls and, you know, sneak a peek or something like that. He didn't go in there to you know, for anything other than that. So not to say it's a good thing, but the nature of men is to be men, you know? Oh, being, cars, business, and then lawn. Yeah, all those things. Men, I just went to a brother out there. He's 77 years old. Got the best looking yard in the neighborhood. Got the best looking yard. He takes pride. It was raining and he was out there spreading some stuff over there. Cars, men and their cars, their automobiles. See, men, when you look at bonding things, men bond over cars. I don't care who it is. It could be old guys, young guys. I pull up in an old car. We got a conversation. We starting to talk. Okay. You have a business. Guys talk about that. Women talk about their family. Sort of, men talk a little bit about their family. Women say, look at what my grandbabies are doing. Men, if you got some kids in my family, my cousins and nephews, they playing ball, men to go see them play and all that type of stuff. We build that type of camaraderie. And when you look at the typical family, and I have to stand my ground on this, the typical family is built around a male. Okay? Now, that male doesn't have to be dominating. That male doesn't have to control everything. Most men, and not to sound bad, but most men, if they pick a wife or a spouse and they have children, they'll stay with them throughout the whole thing. You know, I mean, they take it. Believe it or not, a lot of men now. These young guys, they're divorced because you sneeze or cough. I had a problem, but a lot of older guys would, and the women would stay in those relationships because it was a certain amount of give and take. Okay, there was a brotherhood, sisterhood between them. There was a union, and when you got a brotherhood, sisterhood, it's just like a brotherhood between men. It's like a womanhood between women. The woman knew not to tell all her girlfriends everything that was happening in the house. Okay, that's a little different today. You know, women tell everything that happened. You know, they didn't have sex last night. He done gained weight. We tell all this stuff. But in the traditional families, women, the sisterhood was a tighter bond. It's still a tight bond, and the men was a tight bond. You know, men took care of those things. A man go get a 2-door sports car, and the best thing after he done put gas in it and clean the car, guess what he's thinking about doing?
Chasing women.
Really putting his lady on the other side. He cruising. He got his lady on the other side of the car. That's it. That's the big thing for him. You know, some of these guys been married 40, 50 years. You see them with their old cars and their little ladies. Look at Jimmy Carter. Jimmy and Rosalind Carter been married about 70 years. You know, probably some ups and downs, but that's a traditional type. You know, I don't know what's going on in the household, but you know, I didn't ever see Jimmy. The weirdest thing Jimmy Carter ever said was I think he said he saw a UFO.
A UFO.
A UFO. He said he believed in UFO. It's in one of his books. But that was the hardest, you know, and you know, but he's a man. And you know, it's typical things that you learn through a brotherhood of men. It's like men don't gossip amongst each other. Yeah, men are talking.
Really?
No, but now they do. Now they gossip worse than women.
Because I heard some men gossip. They're talking, especially about women.
Yeah. Well,
I got so and so. Have you got them? You know.
Well, that's from
women around.
A boasting standpoint. Yeah. When men get older, they typically don't brag on the amount of women they. You know, those are doing the 20s and 30s. Once a man settles down, he's not trying to be in that. If he's a man, now if he's a boy, he could be 50, 60 years old, still a boy, still bragging about pulling girls' ponytails, you know, like he in elementary school. Again, that's a guy that hadn't bonded well with men, you know, because most men, somebody will tell us, man, you know, I remember telling my son, I say, you know, you've been out there long enough. You're trying to bring it in, try to settle down. You know, there's too much out here, you know, and before you know it, he was getting married at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? So men typically, just like women do, you know, women that bond, they don't tell their nieces, their daughters what they want them to do. They just kind of paint that picture and they want to be just like them. That's a sisterhood. The men the same way. I'm gonna tell you how powerful men brotherhood is. It doesn't matter. Men will cover for each other. I was talking to a brother today, and a brother, he was a fireman, and the fireman covered. He came to the job dead drunk. Now, he was supposed to be, you know, fighting fires. Now they're men, but they stood by him because they knew he had a problem. Now they gave him one shot. Now he ended up firing that brother because he violated the trust of the brotherhood. They let him go a couple times drinking on the job. And they said, you know, just in case it was me, they said, drummer, now we don't cover for you, but man, we can't do this all the time. So men will take care of each other, bond with each other. But if you violate that trust, that oath among men, they'll kick you out of the circle. Women do the same thing.
Yeah, they will. But I think I feel like a women's bond is stronger than a male's bond.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
y'all not trying to. I don't see a lot of women trying to cross over and get sex changes. It's a compromise in the men group. That means that a lot of men have talked to their sons. I ain't saying you got to beat it out of them or whatever, but they hadn't spent a lot of bonding time with their sons, so their sons don't know what they want to be. I just saw a guy walking through the bus station with dreadlights and a miniskirt on.
Oh, really?
And a
But
beard.
you know what? I think part of it is a hormonal thing, and you can't blame it just on men wanting to do this. I think it's a chemical thing, because they put out these chemicals in your food and you're digesting it and it's changing your hormones. Because I remember hearing about where they sprayed some stuff on some insects and they turned into homosexuals. The insects. Okay. It was a chemical. So it's the food. I mean, look at the food that you eat. It's some of the food, like corn, can regenerate over and over again. And some of the food, you don't have to plant it again. It just come up automatically. Yeah. It's some of the chemicals they putting in your food is changing the hormones in your body and making you change.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble for this, but there are some synthetic men, meaning there are some men that are not 100% men. They just showed a picture of a guy. I think he was a general. And he was running around with a dress on. Now, you got to think, even back in the day when they used to have, remember MASH? And what's that little guy, Kramer? Used to run around.
Yeah.
I forgot it, but he was running around like a lollipop boy. But most men, when it comes down to doing your job, men don't care what you do or how you do it. They want you to do your job. When your job is compromised because you wearing a dress, a halter top, or some heels and some pumps, it's hard for men to put you in the brotherhood of men. It's hard for me to look at another man sitting in pumps and a halter top. I mean, it's going to be difficult. That brother has violated the man trust. And when you violate the man trust, don't care who you are, what shade, black, white, or anything. Men, it's certain things that men do. And certain things men don't do. I don't care if they gave me $1 million. Well, I might do it for the money, but I ain't gonna get no sex change to run against those women. Goodness, that's sick. It might be in the pills, the medicine, all this stuff. I don't know. But these are hybrid men, synthetic men, and maybe it's to reduce the birth rate. I was just looking at, they said they want to leave reduce the population. They just blew up those stones over there in Conyers. They want to reduce the population about 500 million people.
Oh, really?
So that means about 95% of the people got to go. So maybe they just want to stop, get these men to be boy girls, and there'll be a whole generation that won't be producing nothing. They won't even look at girls in a sexual manner. They'll be looking at them as, I want to be like you.
So how do you want to reduce the population when they're forcing people to have babies?
Well, it's great. They're doing it's almost like an oxymoron. They're doing about 5 or 6 things at one time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things are smoke and mirror. Not to get into conspiracy, but there's always about 3 sides to everything. The side we see, the side that they're doing, and the side that they want us to believe that they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these things, maybe one day they'll make sense. But for right now, it's good to have a bond. I think men, it should be, like the Boy Scouts, when they integrated the Boy Scout programs. I think it should be Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts.
Yeah, it should be. But our time ran out. So It is time for us to go. But just remember, people, there are bonds. There are female bonds, there are male bonds, and there are male bonds, and there are female bonds. I think women have a stronger bond because they're there for each other and more supportive to me than the males. Women they just help each other a whole lot more. They take care of other families. They take care of you emotionally and everything versus the males who their bonding is playing football, in my opinion, playing football, video games, talking about women. That's their bonding thing. But it is a difference. There is a difference, but together they can bond as well. But we're going to end this conversation. And you've been watching Good News at Prime Time. Until next week, we're going to say goodbye.